PGA Tour Champions Learning Center. Brought to you by Tour Edge Exotics.
Hi again, everyone. Welcome to Learning Center. I'm Vince Cellini, hoping you are safe and well, and we have a very special guest. He is the 2011 Champion Golfer of the Year and really one of the big personalities and good guys on PGA Tour Champions. You may not recognize him right now, but that is Mr. Darren Clarke. Darren, how are you?
I'm good, Vince. I've been down here in Abaco, here at our club here, the Abaco Club in Winding Bay, since March 14. So I've been here for quite some time. I need a bit of a haircut, as you can see, but you know, I've been practicing away, and if there's ever going to place to be in isolation, this is right up at the top of the list. So, you know, I've been fortunate here in Abaco. We've been lucky because there's been no cases at all on this island down here in the Bahamas. So we've been very fortunate.
All right, wonderful. Glad you are safe, and it's almost a little like samurai golfer here. What you're going for?
Yeah, I know. It's just I just need to get it sorted. But anyway.
Well, you have great hair, so you can make anything work. But I know it's been a little different for you because you truly are isolated, right?
Yes.
Clarke, I mean, you have no family around.
No, well, I got here on whenever obviously the whole outbreak started, Vince. I got here on March 14. And then by the time I tried to get my family here, my wife and my kids, I couldn't do it. All borders, everything is shut down. So my wife, Alison, has been home in Portrush the whole time. My younger son, Connor, he was in University in Edinburgh in Scotland. He came back, and so he was in Portrush with Alison the whole time. And my elder boy, Tyrone, goes to school in Lynn in Boca in Florida, he couldn't get here because of his student visa, etc., etc. So he started doing his master's already, and he couldn't quite get here. But fortunately, I got him. He managed to get here 2.5 weeks ago. But the whole time, yes, I've been here on my own. You know, pretty tough that, you know, whenever we got family and all that sort of stuff, and I couldn't get them here. It's been hard, you know. Been doing WhatsApp video calls twice a day and all that sort of stuff. But you know, that's been the downside. The good side, as I just said, is we've had no cases here. The golf facility, the golf course has been fabulous. Practice facility, second to none here. So I've been able to work away every day. So that's been the positive side of it.
Well, I think the positive side is also the backdrop that I see there. And you win. You win for best location of all the guys I've talked to during the quarantine. I want to talk about your Open Championship in just a moment, but we're a couple of weeks away from PGA Tour champions returning at the Allied Challenge up in Michigan. And the plans are no fans will be in attendance, but there is going to be a Pro-Am there. So I wanted to ask you about your plans of returning to play, and that also includes coming up the Bridgestone Senior Players Championship at Firestone, where you won a WGC event back in 2003. So I imagine you're looking forward to that.
Yes, I am. I'm not going to play in Alley, the first one that I'm not going to be there, unfortunately, through some logistics here and what have you. But my first one back I'm planning to play is Akron, and obviously at Firestone I've got some great memories from there. I've had some played really well there a few times and managed to win, which was obviously a huge highlight in my career at WGC. Love the golf course, love the people there. It's a very friendly club. The locker room guys are brilliant. So looking forward to getting back there. But I got a little bit of an issue at the minute, Vince, in that obviously with the protocols, etc., we've got to self-isolate for 2 weeks whenever I get to America. So I'm a member of a few clubs in Florida where I could go to, one being Seagate and Country Club in Delray Beach. But going into Florida right now with the spike and everything that's going on with all the cases in Florida, I'm sort of trying to figure out right now where I'm going to go to in America. You know, I want to go and obviously be able to, it's not quarantine per se, it's self-isolation. So I can still go and practice and play. But I don't know where I'm going to actually go and do that. You know, I want to I don't want to go somewhere where I can't practice and play because I'm trying to get ready for senior players, which is a huge, they're all big events. So I've gone on this morning trying to figure out where I'm actually going to go. But certainly whenever I get in there and you know, I do my social distancing and hopefully be all clear, you know, it'll be wonderful to get back out playing again, back out on the tour. And, you know, seeing all the guys, we're like a big family out there. You know, everybody sort of misses everybody and it's all a little bit of fun. Things are going to be different, you know, like everybody. I guess we're just watching what's happened on the PGA Tour. And I got to say, I think they've done a wonderful job with the whole bubble they've created. No, they've had some cases. They're always going to have some cases.
Sure.
But overall, they've done an amazing job, you know, to get the tournaments on, to keep the guys safe. And I think Miller Brady and Jimmy Gabrielson are going to do the same thing for us, you know, to keep us safe and get tournaments on. Without spectators, it's going to be a different vibe. You know, the PGA Tour have done that, and but, you know, that's the way it is. The world's a little bit different right now at the moment, and that's probably only going to be resolved whenever we do have a vaccine that works, and then we get back to what we perceive as being normal. But right now, obviously, it's very different to that, Vince.
It is. Upon your return, 4 starts this year and 4 top 25s. I was wondering what you've been able to work on there, because I see there are a lot of distractions on that particular island. So,
Flippers Beach Bar being the biggest distraction, Vince. It's a disaster. I go practicing and putting or whatever, and we've got this sound that's Flippers. The beach bar is going, come to me, come to me. And unfortunately, I'm not that strong-willed that sometimes I just have to give in. But, you know, it's been great. I've had my TrackMan here. So I've been working away diligently with a lot of things, and one of the really good, cool parts of TrackMan is they have a performance center on it, so you can set your own tests. So, for example, I've got one which I do every other day or whatever, and I set it between yardages of 35 to say 75, which are those funny sort of in between yardages.
Yeah.
And TrackMan will just give you a random number between those two numbers, and you hit 10 shots and it scores you accordingly. Bits and pieces like that, you know, to practice and do the same thing every day gets a little bit, monotonous, should we say. But whenever I use the TrackMan and use it properly with different tests, or maybe, you know, as again, I set it between whatever 190 to 215 and hit 10 shots and you're scored accordingly, etc., etc. So all those bits and pieces have been good. But the facilities we've got here, we've got an unbelievable short game area here down at the club and the range and the golf course. And there's not many people here. So, you know, I go out on the golf course, Vince, and I'll give myself a wedge test. So I'll go hit 9 shots anywhere between 115 to 85 yards with my wedges. And I'll take one ball and I chart how close I hit it from that shot into the wind, downwind, whatever, and how many putts I have from there, and just sharpen up the wedge game, because scoring is not all about how far you hit it or how good you hit it. A lot of scoring is all to do with wedges, how close you hit your wedges, how often you're turning those 3 shots into 2, and that's what the Champions Tour guys, all professional golfers, but especially at the Champions Tour, you know, the guys are so good that it's an area where I really wanted to try and sharpen up and see if it can make it a little bit better.
Yeah. Do you feel like that part of your game is going to be the breakthrough for you when you get your win on PGA Tour Champions? Well,
I hope so. You know, I've played nicely a few times, but I waste too many shots. You know, you watch somebody like Bernhard Langer. I mean, Bernhard is just, you know, he's just brilliant. What he does and continues to do. Bernhard hardly ever wastes a shot. Yes, he hits bad shots. We all hit bad shots now and again. But Bernhard never seems to waste a shot. And that's the sign of a true great champion. And that's what he's done. And I come off the golf course and think, well, I wasted one there, wasted one there, wasted one there. So, you know, it's that you got to sharpen up, because it's easy to say, but the guys are good. The guys are really, really good. If you're really making mistakes, you can't afford to make too many mistakes. 1 or 2 maybe, but I've been making too many over the course of the tournament weeks, where maybe going for flags that I shouldn't go for, short side myself. Patience is not really one of my virtues, Vince, unfortunately. And, you know, the 3-round tournaments as opposed to 4, you've got to be that little bit more aggressive. You know,
sure.
If you go and you shoot 72, very few people win tournaments on the Champions Tour by shooting an even par round, as you know. You know, the scoring is so good and the guys are so good. So I got to turn those 72s into 68s or 69s, and then hopefully have another couple of good days. But, you know, I don't want to give myself a chance. The competitor inside me is still firing on all cylinders. You know, I want to get out there, I want to compete, and I want to try and give myself an opportunity to win.
Oh, I see how hard you work at each one of those tournaments as well, Darren. I know you do. So let's give a little tip of the hat to a couple of guys who are your compatriots there on the PGA Tour champions. Jerry Kelly finishes inside the top 25 in the PGA Tour last week. 56-year-old Miguel Angel Jimenez, he's top 10ing in the European Tour. So that goes to what you're saying about how good the guys are on the over 50 circuit.
Yeah, they really are. You know, you look at Strick as well. You know, he's Ryder Cup captain. I know it's been postponed, but he's had a lot of. He goes out and he plays great every week. Scotty McCarron would teed it up there a couple of weeks ago as well. And you know, the two guys you've just mentioned, you know, experience still counts for quite a lot in our sport. You know, if you know what you're doing when you're under pressure, either that be on a Friday afternoon coming down trying to make the cut, or indeed on a Sunday when you're right there in contention. You know, the guys can flat out play. The public perception of PGA Tour champions being 6,500 yards, flags in the middle of the green, greens running at 9 on the stimp meter, it couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, it's a proper golf course. You know, a lot of the courses are up around circa 7,100 yards, greens running between 12 and 13, flags 3-4 from the edge of the green. Listen, I'm not saying it's set up the same as a PGA Tour, but they're challenging golf courses. You got to flat out play, and some of the scores that the guys shoot, they really are phenomenal. You know, it's just they go low and they keep going low, and that's the way it is. The guys can flat out play.
No. It's a sprint. There's no question about that. But this week, PGA Tour will stay in Muirfield Village, as you know, for the Memorial. And Tiger Woods makes his return to PGA Tour, first time since February. He's a 5-time winner there. We also have the phenomenon of Bryson DeChambeau. He won the Rocket Mortgage Classic. So I wanted to get your thoughts on some people saying, like we had Retief Goosen on our show, and he said that he may be on this Tiger path, that he may, you know, be a guy who can really pile up a lot of wins, but also the transformation that he made, Darren, with his body and to get bigger and to hit the ball farther. I mean, I'm sure you've been watching that.
Yes, I have. I've gotten bigger without the intent to hit the ball further. But you know, I think Bryson is to be commended. You know, I've spent a little bit of time with Bryson, not an awful lot, but I've always found him very, very entertaining, very, very charming, and fully dedicated to what he's done. You know, when Bryson first came out and all his clubs the same length, everybody was going, "Oh, this is a little bit different" and all that sort of stuff. But you know, he's figuring out what's best for him. And if you take a look at how far he's hitting the golf ball, the speeds that he's generating are not really something that we've seen on the tour before. I saw a little clip from Tony Finau there. He got it up to 203 miles an hour the other day, sort of. So, you know, that's different. It's like any sport. I think the sport evolves, doesn't it? You know, that distance is not going to suit Bryson suit him everywhere that he goes and plays, but it will suit him a lot. If you're hitting in sand wedges into greens that other guys are hitting 7 irons into greens, that's a huge advantage and a huge way of hitting it closer, because making birdies week in, week out is all about hole proximity. And if you're hitting sand wedges in closer into greens as opposed to 7 irons, you're going to hit your sand wedges closer. You're going to hit 7 irons week in, week out. And Bryson's capitalized on that, on the bit that he's doing, that he's getting bigger, he's getting stronger, he's getting faster. And is that the new norm on the tour? Is that the new norm that the way it's going to be? Maybe, maybe not. But I think Bryson right now at the moment, you can hit the ball as far as you want, but you've also got to putt very well. And Bryson, I think he led putting, I believe, in the Rocket Mortgage as well, I think. Led driving and led putting in the strokes gained stat. That's pretty impressive. So, you know, it's more than just changing his body and ball. He's putting very well as well. Same thing as Tiger. Tiger in his heyday, Tiger was the best putter on tour. You know, not just clutch putts, but he holds putts time after time after time. But it'll be interesting to see, you know, how Bryson, how his game sort of develops. You know, where's the limit? You know, where does it get? At what speed do you start losing control of the golf ball? You know, he's gone down that route of, you look at those long driving guys and how far they hit it, but they're not, with all due respect, they're not as accurate as what the tour players are. Bryson seems to be like right in the middle of the moment, where he's got so much speed, but also very accurate with it as well. So maybe he does have some more speed, but he's found the area that suits him best to keep the ball in play and give himself the best opportunity. So I think he's to be commended, you know, for trying to do something a little bit different. And when we do have spectators back, what more do people want to see than somebody hitting it, smashing it off the tee 370 yards or whatever it is? Sure. I mean, they just love that sort of stuff. So I think it'll be interesting to see how it progresses. But yes, if he keeps hitting it that far, his short game's still that good, then he's gonna win a lot of tournaments.
Well, he's changed the geometry of the game to a certain extent, and now other players are following suit. As it is, Darren, this week was supposed to be the 149th Open, but that was canceled, of course, due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And that means that next year, the Open returns to Royal St. George's for the first time since 2011, and your victory there. I know Portrush was a huge thrill for you to be present there. What's it going to be like to return to Royal St. George's where you won the Claret Jug?
Yeah, it'll be awesome. It's a wonderful golf course. It's a hard golf course. And with it being the fairways as undulating as they are, they're some of the most undulating fairways that we have in all of the Open Championship golf courses on the Rota. Bad breaks are going to go with the good breaks. And it just so happened in 2011, I got a few good breaks and a few more good breaks than I did bad breaks. But that's part of links golf, and that's the way it is. But it's a wonderful, hard test of links golf.
Well, that was a wonderful week for you. And now as we get to What's Your Edge, presented by Tour Edge Exotics, I'd like to talk a little bit more about your performance on that final day as you begin Sunday with a one-shot lead over a then 27-year-old Dustin Johnson. But beyond that, here you are at age 42, 111 in the world, and I'm not sure what the expectations were outwardly for you, but I'd like to know how you looked at yourself at that time and how you were so clutch in terms of some of those putts, including 7, where Phil caught you like 4 groups ahead of you, but you go and make that huge eagle on 7, and that was a big turning.
Yeah, it was. I think I had won in Mallorca about 2 months prior to the Open, so I knew I was playing okay. It was a smaller European Tour event, but I'd still won at a decent field, and I won. And I'd been in Scotland playing up the Scottish Open the week before up in Castle Stewart, and I'd hit the ball fabulous until Sunday and up there, and I didn't really hit it that well on Sunday. But I knew I was hitting the ball really well. I wasn't putting very well, but I was actually ball striking was really good. And I'd practiced well at St. George's when I got there. But I was somewhat frustrated, to say the least, whenever I stepped on the greens. And I got together with Dr. Bob Rotella on the Wednesday afternoon, and Doc spent an hour with me on the green and sort of freed me up, cleared me up instead of thinking too much about technique, etc., and cleared me up. And I went out and played with a lot of freedom. And just before going out on the Sunday and going into that last round, going out and play with Dustin on the Sunday, Doc and I were on the putting green together, and he said to me, he says, just go out there and be yourself. Don't let your attitude don't let your golf game determine your attitude. Let your attitude determine your golf game. And I said to him, well, I'm perfectly prepared to accept whatever way the ball bounces. And when I've won WGCs before and bigger tournaments, I've always had very calm inner state of mind. I don't know how I ever get there, Vince, or which I did, because I probably won a little bit more if I'd have been able to figure that bit out. But that whole day, nothing bothered me. Really nothing. The roars for Phil making all those birdies and the runs and stuff, it was going on around the golf course. But I was, I don't know, not unaware of it, but it made no difference to what I was trying to do. Some people are scoreboard watchers, some people aren't. And the first time I looked at a scoreboard was standing on the 16th tee. I hadn't really paid any attention to it whatsoever, because all I could control was what I was trying to do.
Sure.
And whenever I might have been 17th tee when I looked out. It was 17th. I think it was 4 clear with 2 to go, and I thought, I should be able to deal with this, and I did okay. But it was one of those days where I was very accepting, and that's part of golf. And we all hear these little nuggets that you take each shot at a time and accept where it is and go find it and hit it again. Sometimes it's easier to get in that mindset than other times. It is very. It's the right thing to do, but sometimes to attain that mindset is very difficult. But that week, thankfully, Dr. Bob helped me get in the right state of mind, and I was ridiculously calm and very comfortable with what I was doing. I've been there in quite a few majors before with chances to win, Vince. So it wasn't like a brand new situation for me. It wasn't something that I hadn't experienced before. And, all the way coming down, it was weird because I thought I would have been a lot more nervous and stuff, but I actually wasn't. I was very accepting of what I wanted to do, and it came out positively in the end.
There was a little instance there, and I wonder if you recall this, where the cameras picked you up sort of your eyes appearing to move a little bit while you put it in. I don't know if this has anything to do with Dr. Bob or this unconscious putting or whatever was going on that week. Can you explain that? And is that still something that you work with or use at this point?
No, not really. It was Dr. Bob was trying to get me away from being,
mechanical.
Keep your head still. All the basic. Keep your head still. Don't move. Don't peek. Don't do this and blah blah blah. So I was having a lot more don'ts in my head than do in my head. It's like, it's like, how do you, if I'm going to hit a wedge, whatever, 100 yards, and I want to hit a little bit left or right, I want to hit it low, I want to spin it that way. I don't think, right, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. I stand there because I practice it and I do it. Whereas with my putting, I got way too much into technique. And whilst technique is a huge part of all of our parts of the games, there's still a little bit of this. There's still a little, you need some touch and you need some feel.
Sure.
So who's to say that angle there, if your wrist is the right way or the wrong way to do it? You need to have some feel, and that's where you go to Bryson. That's where he's so good. He's got this speed, but he's also got his wedges and his putting so good. So he's got that feel there as well. How many times have you seen Tiger, or Phil for that matter, hole putts that just die into the last row? That's all touch, that's all feel, by judging the speed, the break and everything. And I gotten too rigid and too no flow to it whatsoever. And that's what Doc helped me to do. And if my eyes were moving, it didn't really make any difference, because I had confidence in the feel that I had.
Yeah, you were freed up to play your game. So as it turns out, the Open isn't the only major event that's been canceled. We also have the Ryder Cup moving into next year. Is that the right decision, Darren?
I think so, Vince. I think a Ryder Cup without fans, it would be very, very different. The fans make the Ryder Cup. Whether it's a home game for the Americans or a home game for the Europeans or whatever, fans create that atmosphere like we have, and no other part of our sport has that. And the 13th man is obviously the home support, and that's huge, and it's part of it. And as players, you want to revel in the chance to play in front of your home fans, but you also want to play and feel the support in an away match. And I think Whistling Straits is going to be an incredible venue. I think Mr. Kohler's done a brilliant job with that golf course. It's one of a kind. I think it'll be sensational. As a match play golf course, it will be brilliant. But you need the fans' atmosphere there to get into the whole thing. You need to feel your hands shaking on the first tee when you go to tee the ball up. That's got to be part of it. And the incredible thing is that how nervous everybody is, but yet you look at the standard of the golf course. I mean, the standard of the play. It's incredible. It's one of a kind, and I think they've done the perfectly correct thing by postponing it, because the fans need to be there to enjoy it and savor the whole atmosphere as well.
Yeah, they're certainly a very important component, maybe more so than in any other event. And lastly, Darren, we checked in with you back in January down in Abaco when you were helping those who were affected by Hurricane Dorian and the rebuilding effort there. So I wonder if you can give us an update on what's happening there on the island and where that stands now.
Well, there has been some work going on, but very slow. A lot of places, very, very few rebuilds, but there's still been clearing. It's still ongoing, the clearing after the devastation from last year. We have plans to do a big pro-am here in September, the anniversary of Dorian. But obviously with the advent of COVID and all that, all the plans got thrown into complete disarray. Sure. And the Champions Tour as well. It was going to be hopefully a mixture of Champions Tour players and PGA Tour players and everybody coming down here to support it. But obviously with the schedules all being changed, then there's tournaments now have gone into that week, which was going to be initially an open week for us in the Champions Tour anyway. But because now the tour is so much more condensed, the tournaments are all in there. So an off week there is none to actually put the tournament on. So we're looking at a date maybe starting next year. Again, when things come back to normal, as the old normal, when we do get the vaccine, then things will become clearer. But it's still my intention to try and do a big fundraiser down here and build a hurricane center with the Abaco Club here in Marsh Harbour, for those people, for the next one that comes in, because we're in hurricane season right now, and the water is unseasonably hot. It's really hot, which is a bad sign for for hurricanes. You know, the warmer the water gets, the more chance there are of some big ones forming again. So the water's been very warm now here for a long time, so that does not bode well. But let's cross our fingers and hope that nothing like Dorian's coming their way. You know, the people here have been used to dealing with hurricanes, nothing like Dorian last year. But you know, it's the place has been hammered, and they're still trying to rebuild. They're still a long way off, but the Bahamian people are resilient, and they're trying to do their best, and they're making an effort. And I want to just try and help them along that effort, and as I say, give them somewhere to go when the next one comes in.
Yeah, well, you've certainly done that, and I commend you on all of your efforts.
Thank you.
Going down there, because I know how much you do love that area.
Yes.
And how much it means to you. So that's it. Before I say goodbye, I was thinking maybe you should get your laptop out and do some writing, because I think you remind me a little of Ernest Hemingway sitting there.
Is it this or I don't know what it is.
I don't know, the whole vibe. I think it's the whole vibe.
He probably didn't drink as much though.
Clarke, I miss you. I can't wait to see you.
I know, I'm an athlete in disguise, Vince.
See you very soon. Stay safe.
Thank you.
My friend.
You too, Vince.
Great
Cheers.
spending time with you, Darren.